Welcome to Group Health webinar on PostScripts RX, the ultimate inconvenience, your prescriptions delivered to your door. Here is an overview of what we'll be talking about today. We'll start off by looking at drug trends to give you an idea of why PostScripts RX is being introduced. Next, we'll have a look at the current buying process when it comes to prescription drugs. Finally, we'll get into the specifics of PostScripts RX, including an overview of MediTrust, the process you'll go through when using MediTrust, the impact on you, and the communication materials that are available to you. This slide shows total prescription drug spend in Canada. As you can see, in the past 20 years, prescription drug spend has increased fivefold. This is an enormous increase, and many plan sponsors simply don't have the resources to continue paying as costs increase. Here is a look at a breakdown of benefit plan costs for a typical plan. As you can see, the orange slice of the pie is very large. This represents prescription drugs, which typically account for 21% of total benefit costs. This explains why many organizations have chosen to focus on controlling these costs. Here are some more stats on how many drug plans are essentially wasting money. This means spending more without improving health outcomes. $1 out of every $3 spent on drug benefits is waste. This refers to things like dispensing fees that are higher than they need to be and shorter than necessary dispensing intervals. For example, many pharmacies dispense a 30-day supply of medication, even though they could be dispensing a 90-day supply. That means they are charging 3 dispensing fees as opposed to 1 dispensing fee if a 90-day supply had been dispensed. Almost 3/4 of claims filled in 2013 had a dispensing fee greater than $10.50. In addition, 60% of drug claims made in 2013 were for a supply of 30 days or less. Both of these forms of waste are addressed with MediTrust. Here is a look at the current prescription drug process as we see it. Let's say this is me and I'm feeling unwell. I visit the doctor. A doctor typically spends just 5 to 7 minutes with a patient. So during my 5 to 7 minutes with my doctor, one of the first things he typically does is pull out a prescription pad. While he's deciding which drug to prescribe me, he's got someone else in his ear. It's the brand name pharmaceutical rep. It's no surprise that the doctor has the drug rep on his mind, as on average, a brand name drug rep spends $30,000 per year per doctor on doctor visits, lunches, golf games, you name it. As we saw, prescription drugs are a big industry, so this isn't a big surprise. So I leave my doctor's office and head to my local pharmacy. My local pharmacist has no incentive to help me or my plan control costs. They're happy to dispense whichever drug I've been prescribed, regardless of the cost of the drug. So who's benefiting from this? The insurance companies. Today's claims are tomorrow's premiums, so the insurance company has no reason to help control costs either. So who suffers because of this process? The plan sponsor. They're the one who's stuck paying. So let's look at why organizations choose to introduce PostScripts RX. It helps control rising costs. It also helps plan sponsors to maintain current coverage. What's happening with some plans is they're having to lower coverage levels or make other changes to the plan as they can't afford to continue paying. Finally, introducing PostScripts can help plan members and their families save both time and money. So what is PostScripts? Essentially, it's a new delivery system for maintenance prescription drugs. It's easy, safe, and convenient, and most importantly, the level of coverage you have does not change. The only thing changing is where you get your prescriptions for maintenance medication. And just to be clear, when I say maintenance medication, I'm talking about drugs that a doctor prescribes for regular use, typically something you take every day. So here's a look at how PostScripts affects your coverage. For maintenance medications, if you're stabilized on your medication, and I'll talk about the definition of stabilized in a few minutes, then in order to receive coverage, you must obtain your medication from MediTrust Pharmacy. If you are stabilized on your maintenance medication and you obtain your medication from your local pharmacy, you will not receive any coverage. During the stabilization period, so if you're on a new maintenance medication and you and your doctor are finding out what type and dosage will best manage your condition, then you can obtain your prescription at either your local pharmacy or MediTrust pharmacy, and you will receive full coverage at either. For acute medications, you will continue to receive full coverage at your local pharmacy. Here's a look at the process you'll go through when filling a prescription for acute medication. When I say acute medication, I'm referring to drugs needed for a sudden or unexpected illness or injury. Drugs like antibiotics and painkillers fall into this category. So you'll visit your doctor will write your prescription for acute medication, then you'll visit your local pharmacy and have your prescription filled. This is exactly the same as what you do now, no change. Now here is a look at the process you'll go through when filling a prescription for maintenance medication. First, you have to register for PostScripts, and you have to register for ClaimSecure's e-profile. Some of you may already be registered for e-profile, which is ClaimSecure's online interface, which allows you to do things like submit drug claims online. Once you're registered for PostScripts and e-profile, then you visit your doctor, and your doctor writes your prescription for maintenance medication. If you're stabilized on the maintenance medication, you ask your doctor's office to fax or phone in your prescription to MediTrust. Keep in mind, due to pharmacy regulations, the prescription must originate from the prescribing doctor's office if it's being faxed or phoned in. You can't take it to work and fax it from there. Alternatively, you can mail it to MediTrust, although you will have to allow for a couple extra days to receive your prescription to account for mail time. Next, MediTrust fills your prescription and charges your credit card or Visa debit card if there is any copay. Finally, your prescription is delivered to the location of your choice in 5 days or less. So now let's talk about stabilization. You are considered stabilized on your maintenance medication if you have received 90 days of medication with the same DIN within the previous 4 months. Keep in mind, if your doctor changes the dose of your medication, for example, instead of 0.5 milligrams, they bump it up to 1 milligram, this is a new DIN and the stabilization period is reset. During the stabilization period, while you and your doctor are figuring out which type and dose of medication is right for you, you can continue to purchase your medication at your local pharmacy. So when does a stabilization period apply? All new employees get a 90-day stabilization period, regardless of whether or not they have been on their medication for a very long time. This is because a new employee does not have a drug history with ClaimSecure. So ClaimSecure does not know if they are already stabilized. You also get a 90-day stabilization period if you start taking a new maintenance medication. Keep in mind, after the stabilization period, if one applies, you must use MediTrust Pharmacy in order to receive coverage for your maintenance medication. Here's a little bit about MediTrust Pharmacy. They're a central dispensing pharmacy, and they can dispense almost any drug that is dispensed at your local pharmacy. They're owned by the Katz Group Canada, as is Rexall Pharmacy, which is the retail branch of the company. And they'll ship your medication via Canada Post courier for free within 3 to 5 business days. So here's what you have to do to get started. First, if you haven't already, visit claimsecure.com and sign up for eProfile. Once in eProfile, click on the PostScripts tab and it will redirect you to the PostScripts site so you can sign up for PostScripts. I encourage everyone to sign up for both eProfile and PostScripts, regardless of whether or not you're currently on maintenance medication, just so you're prepared if you start taking maintenance medications in the future. If you have a spouse or dependent whose primary coverage is under your plan, they will also have to sign up and create an account with PostScripts. If you need help signing up for PostScripts, you can always feel free to phone MediTrust Pharmacy and they will assist you. So once you're signed up for both, you log on to your PostScripts account and transfer any existing prescriptions to MediTrust. The only information you need to do this is the name and location of your local pharmacy where the prescription refills are residing, and the name of the drug and/or DIN of the medication. MediTrust will look after getting it transferred. Keep in mind, if you're not comfortable with the computer, you always have the option to phone MediTrust, and they will be able to help you over the phone. In the future, when you get a new prescription for maintenance medication, you will ask your doctor to phone or fax in the prescription directly to MediTrust. And finally, you'll start enjoying the convenience of free delivery of your maintenance medication. We consistently get feedback from clients using Essential Dispensing Pharmacy that once you get used to it, it is extremely convenient to have prescriptions delivered. Here's a screenshot of eProfile. You may or may not have seen it before. This is where you can sign up to submit claims online. Here's a screenshot of the PostScripts website where you'll sign up for the program, transfer prescriptions, request refills, and that sort of thing. Here is an example of a timeline to introduce PostScripts. If your PostScripts plan is coming into effect April 1st, for example, you'd want to transfer any existing prescriptions for maintenance medication to MediTrust prior to April 1st. You'll want to be signed up and have your prescriptions transferred before the effective date, because after the effective date, if you go to your local pharmacy and fill a prescription for maintenance medication, you will not receive any coverage. You must use MediTrust in order to receive coverage for maintenance medications that you're stabilized on. Here are some perks for you and your plan that come with the introduction of PostScripts. You'll receive a discount card for 20% off Rexall branded merchandise at Rexall retail locations. Rexall has 4 house brands and over 1,800 household items that this discount will apply to. It can be used on things like cleaning supplies, cosmetics, cough medicine, etc. It does not apply to prescription medication. MediTrust will offer a low dispensing fee of $7.49. This is in contrast to the national average, which is $10.50. MediTrust has also agreed to cap ingredient cost markups. This is important because your retail pharmacy can mark up the ingredient costs as much as they like. There is no limit. And finally, you will receive free delivery of your maintenance medication. Here's a summary of the communication materials you will receive. You'll get a brochure outlining PostScripts and the things I've talked about here. You'll also get a frequently asked questions booklet that addresses many of the additional questions you may have. Finally, you'll get a Rexall discount card to be used at Rexall retail locations. Even if there isn't a Rexall retail location near you, it's important to keep the card with you, as the fax and phone numbers for where prescriptions should be sent can be found on the back of the card. You'll also receive an email from PostScripts once you sign up. And providing you sign up for eProfile too, you'll receive e-bulletins on eProfile. Another very important reason to sign up for eProfile is that by signing up, you will be sent an email when you purchase maintenance medication from your local pharmacy. This will remind you that you have a preferred provider network, which is MediTrust Pharmacy. If it's during the stabilization period, it will be a good reminder that your next refill should come from MediTrust. Or if you do purchase your maintenance medication from your local pharmacy after you are stabilized and you don't receive any coverage, you will receive another email reminding you that you would have received coverage at MediTrust. Finally, your local pharmacist will see a pop-up message saying Preferred Provider Network when you purchase your maintenance medication from a local pharmacy. So here's a summary of what we've talked about regarding your new PostScripts plan. It's convenient, it's safe, accurate, and discreet. It's cost-effective, and it's easy. I encourage you to be proactive and sign up for the program before it's effective to ensure continued coverage of your maintenance medication. If you have any further questions, please feel free to talk to the plan administrator at your company.